you join me at my altar and we're going to talk a little bit about witchcraft, and more specifically my own witchcraft journey and how it has kind of led me to the practice that I now have. My understanding of witchcraft is that everything is energy, and witchcraft allows us to manipulate and direct that energy to create change and to empower us. We do this by using our own will and intention, as well as energy outside of ourselves, such as symbolism or different tools and even deities to help guide us through our spell work. These are all different energy that we can harness and use within our spellcraft. There are many different ways to call upon the various energies, but that is definitely something for another video. I definitely want to make a more in-depth video just about different ways you can interpret how witchcraft works, but that is basically the gist of how I think witchcraft works and how it fits nicely into my practice. I've kind of just realised that my journey to witchcraft compared to many others weren't much of a journey at all, as witchcraft has just been kind of ingrained into my life from early childhood. My mum was a practicing witch. She began her path as Wiccan. It was something that was just spoken about very casually, even though we never practiced with her or anything like that. She was very much solitary in her craft. I am currently editing this video and there's a few things that I missed and really wished I spoke about, so hopefully I can just speak about them in another video. But one thing that I did want to talk about was Wicca, because it was very much an important part of my journey to witchcraft, and it was the same for my mum as well. We both first identified as Wiccan witches more specifically. It was formed by a man named Gerald Gardner in the 50s. I find the Wiccan religion to be quite beautiful, however it is very problematic. There's many Wiccans that do not practice cultural appropriation in their religion. A lot of Wiccans are just drawn to that religion for the devotion to the earth and also the idea of the god and the goddess rather than just a god like the Christian god or in other religions where it's multiple different gods and goddesses. I also was drawn to the very simple god and goddess energy. I wouldn't see that as a gender thing, more of an energy thing. Now I'm rambling, so enjoy the rest of the video. I might pop in because there's a few other things that I kind of wish I mentioned. I think I knew about witchcraft or had an idea about witchcraft before I even heard the name God in a church that I went to with school, and I remember having this like feeling of knowing and comfort by the idea of God. However, I have always had this innate connection to the divine, even from being really young. And when I picture that energy, when I picture how I imagined this divine energy, it wasn't a man in the sky, and I couldn't really wrap my head around it, and it felt very much unfathomable to me. I found it a lot easier to connect to this divine energy through talking and connecting with nature. Nature has always been something I've been so deeply connected to. I was always outside in the garden and there was a tree I used to speak to. I remember having so many conversations just like at the base of the tree, and it felt like such a motherly presence for me. I remember I used to sit at my bedroom window and talk to the moon, which is something I still do now. Like, that is so special to me that is something I did as a child before having any influence of even my mum, because she hadn't really talked about her practice. I feel very lucky that my mum never pushed any religion on us, even though it would have been lovely to be able to celebrate Sabbaths and do spells and rituals. but I'm grateful that I was able to kind of build my practice over time and throughout years. When I was around 11 years old, I came across my mum's old Book of Shadows, and for anyone that doesn't know, the Book of Shadows is kind of an accumulation of a witch's research and experiences. She hadn't touched this book in what must have been years, so I just happened to stumble across it. It was under her bed, not hidden, but I think like put away for storage. This was when my practice kind of began to form. I was able to start researching the earth and the elements. I was now able to form something that I was able to practice in the day-to-day. I wanted to quickly share some of the witchy practices that I did when I was younger, and there's a few that I've kind of unlocked. I was talking to my sister about it and was just asking her like, oh, can you remember any of the other things that I used to do, because we shared a room at the time. And I remember I went through a phase of listening to different elemental sounds while I went to sleep. So I would first do like earth sounds, whether that was like a forest sound, and then I would do the element of water, so I'd listen to like a river or a stream. I really liked listening to like rain sounds as well, and there would be air, which I would listen to like howling wind music, and fire, of course, a crackling fire. It felt like a really nice way of connecting to the elements, which were and have always been a very big part of my practice. I also had this prayer to the god and goddess that I would say every night. I memorized the Wiccan Read. I think I used to say that a lot. I used to make a lot of altars outside in the garden and collect things from outside and make potions and befriend snails, but I can't really remember anything else I did. I'm sure by unlocking those memories, more's gonna come flooding back, but I just wanted to share some of them. There was 2 YouTubers that I want to mention. I did read a lot of things on various websites, and at the time it was quite nice to not have so much information like we do now, but I kind of struggled with discerning what resonated with me and what didn't, and I wasn't really able to ask questions or get very specific answers for the things I was wondering. I found these 2 YouTubers. It was actually the first time I ever watched a YouTube video. It was a witchcraft video by a woman named Tiptoe Chick, who I found out a few years ago had passed away. And she taught me so much, especially about herbalism. She used to make tinctures and worked with herbs a lot. I really loved her videos, and I felt like she was a big sister with just how she would explain things so well, even for little Megan's ears and understanding. I also watched a YouTuber called Dragon Feather, who really helped me with learning about the different deities and how to work with the earth so closely and really get a tangible connection. My practice definitely ebbed and flowed during my early teenhood and throughout my teens as a whole. When I had witch in my Instagram bio, a girl was like, oh my god, she's so weird. It was a little bit weird. But then I also had some friends who was really into it, and I remember doing a few astral projections with friends, and we would do little spells here and there. And I remember this one girl, she had a very Christian family, and I remember explaining to her that spells were kind of like prayers, and she did get it, and she was really like open to it. During my late teens, I became quite disconnected with the practical side of witchcraft. I think trauma can really make you feel disconnected, but I deeply believe that these times of trauma and the times that we aren't able to feel as connected to the divine or any practice that you follow, them times of having to step back are so important in the growth of your practice as you're experiencing more things. And our practice, our craft is built by the experiences we have. It is so individualistic and so spiritual. Witchcraft at its core is very spiritual, and during this time I think I had a bit of a spiritual awakening. I use that term very lightly because it's a funny term to use sometimes, but I really did have this awakening, and it brought up a lot of things, and healing from that really allowed me to connect deeper into witchcraft and really feel the power of witchcraft and how empowering it can be. I almost forgot to share this, but this was the first book on witchcraft that my mum ever got me, and of course I still have it now and have really looked after it. It is so special to me. It is the Teenage Witch's Book of Shadow, an introduction to sympathetic magic, and it's just so cute. I really love this book. I would really recommend it, honestly, to some beginners. You see so many witchcraft books that are just massive and full of information because there is so much to witchcraft, but a little book like this is really good starting point. I'm not even sure how old I was when I got that. I think I was about 13, 12. I will add more book recommendations in my like witchcraft for beginners video that I really want to do, but I would recommend The Psychic Witch. That is a great beginner's book, especially if you are more psychically inclined than witchcraft inclined. Before I end the video, I thought it would be nice to do a quick card pull for the collective watching this and also for myself. I have been feeling really cold to tarot and would just like to incorporate that more on my YouTube, but just let me know if that is something you'd want to see or not. I'd probably do it anyway, but move this. Also, how cute is my mug? My best friend Ray made it for me for my birthday. She is ASMR Ray on YouTube. She would hate that sound. It is too high pitch for her, but yeah. How cute! I can't believe she designed this. She drew this. Anyway, a quick card pull for the collective watching this video. The card we pulled is the Queen of Wands, which I'm not even surprised at, as to me, witchcraft at its core is about empowerment. So many women are called to the craft. It is no surprise when I say we live in a patriarchy. We live in a world that fears women who are empowered. And the Queen of Wands is telling us to take our power back and alchemize our fear, alchemize any victimhood mindsets, and transmute that into empowerment, transmute our pain, transmute our trauma into magic. We can connect to the energy of the Queen of Wands within us through witchcraft. It is your time to take the role of the creator and really feel the power within you and the power that is innately yours. I am so grateful if you stayed and listened to my very quick journey to witchcraft. There wasn't much trials and tribulations, but this is where I'm at now, and I really wish you all the luck on your own witchcraft journey. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything that you would particularly like to hear from me, or if you have any questions that I could answer in another video. But that is all for now.